Mark, what other
Yes,
recitations
yeah,
you need?
it was just this session has been recorded. We maintain in the books and records of the National Election Center Authority. Everything discussed in here shall remain confidential. Eventually, the budget will be made public, but there are certain elements in here that need discussion, include employment aspects and procurements. And so it's important to keep that confidential.
Thanks for that. Anybody opposed to adjournment?
Don't ask them.
You have the power to adjourn.
All in favor, say yay. We're adjourned. Don't forget to eat the donuts out there.
The one part of you you have control.
Yeah, I just know that the
All right.
Montessori curriculum is
All
less
right. Give me
creative,
something right.
more open-ended and stuff, so.
Joe, welcome. How are you doing this morning?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
Oops, we'll get you on audio here.
Give us just 1 second.
Joe, are you in Washington DC or Washington State of?
Washington State of.
Washington State.
Stayed out. Okay.
The,
Sound was
give us
coming out
1
of my
second,
computer.
Joe. Yeah.
Okay, how about now?
Can you hear me? Can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
He can hear us, but we can't hear him, eh?
Yeah, it's coming out of my computer for some reason.
My wife's stream meeting.
Okay, one more time, Joe.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, good.
Good show. Welcome aboard, Joe. Is Ernest on board
We're not gonna have Ernest today or
or Rob?
Rob. John Eichert is in a plane. We'll try to join virtually later. Bill Mosier is, I think, also on a plane coming back from the next trip in Detroit. He's gonna try to be on with her.
And Nicole's on her way, and we'll be here in person.
Good show. So we'll call this to order. Thanks for coming today. It's gonna be a warm day, so we're trying to get through this quickly and not fry in here. Special shout out to Caroline. You're here in person.
I'm glad I didn't come last month, you guys. I was super sick and everybody in here would have gotten it, so.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Great this month though.
Glad you're here. Meeting minutes from last time. Anybody have any dismay about that? Anybody have objection to approving those?
No, I move approval.
And second. So approved. Don't need to vote on that, do we, Mark?
You should, yes. You did. And you did. You followed great governance, Mr. Chair.
So approved. I don't have anything to report, and I talked to John yesterday by email, and he didn't have any, major issues to bring up, I don't think today. So we'll fill in the blanks as we go along. Brad?
Okay, we're gonna move quickly through this. We do have a full agenda today. On the facilities front, I do not want to skip this moment. Since we were together last, the Equestrian Center Hotel, workforce housing and parking structure, city financing was approved. That's what I have to say about that. Oh, man. That concludes my review.
We do that, whoa, you're gonna have to.
Come without a warning. Sorry, deal with it.
Wake up.
It was a hard process. And it was, Mike and the city team and Nicole, incredible partnership and leadership and effort. The city side, incredible effort, I will tell you, from Steve, Alexi, Jenna, and Lori in particular. Those four just lived that experienced the delays that we had, the 2 delays that we had getting to the vote. It was, we drug it across the finish line. I think, it was challenging. More than welcome. It was challenging, obviously, with we got the request from the GES Community Investment Fund, from the podium, and had our first public comment session on whatever that was. May 5th. That they were requesting $16 million payment. We have been talking about our community investment fund revenue streams and what they would equate to over time. They're asking for an upfront payment. And that changed the conversation for a month is what it took to kind of level set that back to the question at hand. We had good support from city council. We appreciated that 9-4 vote. And so happy to be where we are. That's a big milestone for the project. We're not done. Now we got to get to a deal. So this is the next phase of the project, which will be, I'm sure, challenging as well to get our construction development partners to guarantee the price and schedule. And that's going to take some work to do, but we are we've set ourselves up for success there as well. The rest of it, we've talked about before. We're focusing on that Cup North. We have a meeting right after this board meeting today at Cup North. The livestock center, there's a ton of work going on. It's happening, folks. It's super exciting, and Mike's gonna show some slides today. We'll show you some recent images of LBC. It's just very exciting what's going on there. Next slide, please. I'm not gonna go through this at all. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of event stuff happening and a lot of events coming up, and we are going to do our events deeper dive this morning. So you'll hear more about this in that portion of the scheduled programming. Lori.
So I've got some numbers and I'm really excited about all of the things that are coming together. We don't waste. We've been able to serve 4,329 individuals. We are getting more interest on campus for our 80216 community members attending these We Don't Waste. I won't dive into it, but I just know that it's really been such a great thing to have on campus, mostly with all of the food insecurity and just kind of the climate that we're in right now. The fact that they have a place to go and get food and have food to be able to provide for their families. To date, we've been able to provide free community tickets at 943. We did just receive 400 additional tickets from Denver Museum of Nature and Science. So our goal is to give those tickets out during our Riverfront People's Market. So I'm really excited about us just being able to have these free resources to the community. And it's all about the partnership and continuing the strength and having people identify these opportunities and to be able to focus on our GS community. We've had a lot of increase in attendance at CAC, and that's our goal, is to really increase more members to attend so they can be part of kind of the collaboration that we're trying to do in the community, activating the campus, as well as fun things happening. We've got Denver Days that will be happening on August 2nd. There's an opportunity if anybody wants to volunteer for that day. Our goal is to serve 5,000 backpacks to individuals. So to have that many people on campus at the riverfront is just amazing for them to see where we're at, what we're doing, and how can we address like being a resource and a space for community members to attend. They'll be doing art. We're partnering Birdseed, and they're going to be doing art with the kids. We're going to be doing free haircuts. Our goal is to really focus on trying to see if we can get some shoe services for our kids. We want everybody to be able to attend and start school with just that fresh look, that fresh feel. It's really
Tell everybody who the financial supporter is.
Yeah, so we are working with HRCP, but the financial backing is the Silva Foundation, and he has been the originator of Denver Days, and they've always hosted it at goodness, Sloan's Lake, sorry. And now we're moving it over here. He's got the partnerships to bring the Nuggets players, as special hosts. We're having the mayor come to that event. It's just, we're really excited when they, decided to choose our site to provide for our community, just because they've had it in one safe spot all of the time. So the fact that they chose us and they're willing to fund and provide more resources. Our original goal was to serve 2,000 backpacks. And then with the community's voice saying, there are so many families that do not get served in the GS community. He was able to get that number up to 5,000. So it's just remarkable, like whatever poll he has, he knows everybody, and he's really has supported that initiative of making sure that our community is served. So that is one of the things I'm really looking forward to. It's a Saturday before our People's Market, but that campus will be full. We're gonna be closing down the street. We're gonna have bucket rides. They're having, you know, just all sorts. I think right now we have 78 activations, that includes vendors and resources. And our goal is to really have, oh, and then another thing that they're working on committing is 50 cadets. So the youth can really walk around and try to, you know, I shouldn't say try to be police. That's their goal, is to, you know, go over and, you know, kind of have a space where they can talk to community members and get that interaction.
I'll volunteer to help the firefighter.
Yeah. Yep.
They'll have to get,
Hopefully,
right?
yeah.
Gotta make sacrifices.
I know the things that we do.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
How is that not an HR violation?
Give me some time.
And then we just had our first People's Market at the riverfront on Saturday, and it went wonderfully. I was so excited about having this kind of combined efforts with CSU Spur and just really activating the campus. The operations team, we had this grasshopper pandemic, so we had to deal with that, but everything went off. I mean, it was just like beautiful. We had the activation with CSU Spur. The kids were excited. They could come over and get funnel cakes. They could see some local vendors. Our initiative here was to really focus on getting community members that were selling their items, or businesses in the GS networks, to come, and this was their space to sell their items. This was their space to convene, learn more about our campus, and know that they're part of this initiative. So we were really excited. We had Latin All-Stars. They provided music for free. We had Prodigy Coffee. They created these syrups. They're a social enterprise as well as a coffee shop, but they created those syrups at the CSU Spur Commissary kitchen. And so now we gave them the platform to be able to sell that. So it's all about like that connection and partnership and extending those, you know, activations. But I felt like that just went off really well. The weather was great. It was pretty warm, but families were out buying plants and, you know, just learning about pollinators, and they had somebody dressed up as the bee, or with the beehive suit, was educating the kids. Just a really great day.
We went, it was very fun.
Yeah, right?
It was great.
Yeah, it was.
We've got the national We Don't Waste video next. Or
Yeah,
talk about
so-
that, Jenna?
Sure, I'm happy to set that up. So as Lori mentioned, we have a lot of really neat community-based initiatives right now. One of them is the We Don't Waste partnership that we've created, that she spoke a little bit about. We've been able to serve lots of individuals through that program, but I think specifically what our goal is to get more folks within the GES community involved in that program and feeling like they can come down and get resources and specifically food. Will you do the full screen? So we are trying to do a better job telling that story. We're gonna be doing that on social media and utilizing other methods, but we put together a little video on this program and what it means to us and kind of what it is. So you guys can take a look.
We are at the National Western Center. We are hosting our mobile food market here that happens the first Friday of the month.
It's
a food market on wheels, and they come here, they distribute fresh food and all sorts of baby essentials.
So our mobile food markets have 8 distribution sites across the Denver metro area. We are very grateful to have this partnership with National Western Center to be able to bring a mobile food market to this neighborhood. GES, we know, is a food desert, meaning food access here is difficult.
We Don't Waste addresses 2 very serious issues that we as a local and global community are facing. First, food insecurity and food access to everyone, and our environment. So We Don't Waste has done a wonderful job of providing accessible, healthy, nutritious food truly to anyone. It doesn't really matter your social status, or you're just really welcome to come and receive food. And obviously it keeps this food out of the landfills, which we all know our climate is very, very important. And so you're kind of having a 1-2 punch.
So how it works is we go to supermarkets, we go to pick it up, we come back, we take it back to the warehouse. Then from there, we distribute it from one of our programs, of course, the mobile market that's behind us. And then from there, we also do have other programs such as, deliveries to other organizations or other agencies could come to us and pick up food. And so that's how we participate in distributing the food that we get.
With National Western Center, one of the guiding principles is to really be sustainable and really trying to protect our land and our space and our earth. So when We Don't Waste had that mission of really keeping things out of the landfill, it was really important for us to kind of partner and really highlight that initiative.
I mean, one of the reasons I've been volunteering, I think, with We Don't Waste for maybe 5-6 years, and one of the reasons I come back every year truly is a volunteer program. Verona, Corey, the entire We Don't Waste staff truly makes every volunteer event meaningful and worthwhile. We'll be here for about 4 hours today, and you truly see your direct impact within those 4 hours.
These mobile food markets are so hugely important to our community, and just being able to add a new location here is really awesome. We know that there are a lot of people that come to us looking for services like food, and the fact that we just showed up and we said, hey guys, we would love to do a market, and your team was so excited to just get us started and to show up and get it going was really awesome.
Yeah, that's been a really fun partnership so far. And as I said, we're going to be trying to spread the word a little bit more so we can continue to bring more GES families to the table.
And these hundreds of families that get served every week, so it's a touch point, right? It's an opportunity for us they come to the campus, they see the campus, we put flyers in the food boxes. I mean, it's a great just communication tool as well, and then relationship builder while providing a really vital service to the community. And it's GS, but not just GS, it's folks from all over the city as well, and they're part of our.
Are you capturing those zip codes of beyond
Yeah.
the impact?
But 1 and 2, since we met last, I think we were just close to publishing the economic impact study. There is a copy of it underneath your agenda at each one of your spots. That it is being amended right now. That says nearly 3 billion. As soon as I was really hoping it was going to get republished yesterday, but it didn't hit that yet.
There is a typo up there. We apologize.
Yeah, and
it's theory.
Yeah. $3 billion in economic impact between 2022 and 2027 on the campus. That is National Western Stock Show. That is CSU Spur. That is National Western Center. With the construction of all those assets, the construction, think about it, is just amazing. I think the 1.3 billion is with the construction GDP impact of all those projects collectively, and then all the events that are going on. So this is the first time we've been able to aggregate economic impact for the entire campus, and it's working, folks. These investments are producing a return for in the ways we had hoped. Staffing and procurements. We have a number of procurements coming up right now. Campus security is, I think, went out this last week. That's a big one, and that's timely also because Brandon Garcia is our new campus manager of security and parking. Amanda Vias, who's here today, she'll be presenting in the events deep dive section of the program. You'll meet her in a few minutes. So folks coming on board as we get ready to launch Livestock Center. I think that is it.
Pay for all that, okay?
We can't. And we're gonna talk about that today.
Budget, partner report, Mr. Magoo.
Good morning.
Morning.
So obviously just want to echo Brad's sentiments around Equestrian Center. It's a huge effort. It's a month of our lives we'll never get back, but we got the vote, and that is, at the end of the day, all that really matters. You go to the next slide. So we continue our work in progress on the campus. The items in red here are sort of the last remaining assets in phases 1 and 2. Livestock Center, I'll talk about more in a minute, but that is moving ahead full steam towards an opening this fall. Equestrian Center, obviously, we now have what we need from council and are moving forward on next steps, working towards a development agreement on that project. Pedestrian bridge, we are finalizing design. That will go out to bid here in the next couple weeks. That will be a hard bid. And we are also, as a city now, looking at impacts of tariffs and how we sort of quantify those as essentially an additional contingency on everything right now moving forward. And then the Betty Graham Drive Bridge is a partnership with Dottie. We are working closely with them, obviously. That ties into their 48th Avenue Greenway that connects over to Washington. But that is making progress. It's probably the last one that will get built out of the 4 remaining assets you see here. Next slide. So here's our aerial, just to kind of giving people a snapshot. You can see Livestock Center, a lot of site work happening. So the plaza is starting to come into shape. And just a lot of work there. Riverfront open space, the art opening was fantastic. I'll have some pictures of that. Continue to kind of tie up some loose ends on miscellaneous infrastructure and campus wide. And then on the design and planning side, as I mentioned, 48th Avenue pedestrian bridge. Quick update on the federal Reconnecting Communities grant. We were, as I think I've shared before, we were able to get that grant agreement signed by us and the feds in early January. And at that point, we had the pedestrian bridge in the scope, knowing that we were going to have to come back and amend that agreement to add the remaining projects. That is now on the horizon. We will be amending it to add, DPS Bus Barn and the 48th Avenue Greenway collectively into that agreement later this year. And we are cautiously optimistic that that will ensure that those funds will continue to flow to complete the construction of those projects. That only then leaves the BN crossing on National Western Drive South, which we're in discussions with them on sort of the level of need and urgency there. If any of the 4 don't get completed, it would be that one. But we are waiting to see how that plays out. Next slide. Livestock. The Sue Anschutz Rogers Livestock Center is well on its way. If you go to the next slide, we've got some recent photos from just this week. And we love to do here's the rendering and here's the reality. So this is the main entrance to the arena. The rendering on the upper left and what it actually looks like in the field right now. So really, really exciting to see it all coming together. You can see the planters, these circular planters that are being installed. The landscaping will be coming in next, but great progress on the plaza. It is a really big space. So we're anxious to get the trees in there and try to get some shade out there. It does a lot of things, right? It's the main pedestrian connection, it's service and access and loading for the building. So it does multi-duty and be good to see the finishing touches be put on that over the next couple months. Next slide. So we now have seats in the arena, very exciting. One of those things we were tracking very, very closely on, when they were gonna get here, from China. But they are here, they are going in, so really exciting to see the arena shaping up. We have one more slide, some additional shots. Additional shot of the arena, so, they are starting to prep for the scoreboard, so in the center there, they will be building a platform, they'll bring that in, hoist it up, it'll be quite a process, but it'll be great to see that going in here, I believe in the next month. Next slide. Again, the auction hall and banquet area, on the top, sort of the rendering and the reality. And then the 360, or as is now known, the cowboy bar coming together. Next slide. This is a slide we put together just capturing the workforce development that we've done around livestock in particular. So you can see for the livestock center, sort of total number of workers, zip codes where they're coming, or number from targeted zip codes, average hourly wage. What I think is really interesting here is the total hours worked. That's not a typo, that is, we're missing a comma, but that is 8,259,000 hours worked on the project to date. We were like, oh my God, is that real? And we crunched the math backwards. That's actually the case. And just tying into what Brad said about the economic impact, specifically of construction, like it is huge. It should not be underestimated, just the level of effort and time. 8 million hours to date, and we're not done yet. So pretty impressive, yeah.
That's really impressive. Can I just ask where you found your apprentices, what scopes you found those in?
That is a great question that I'm not sure I know the answer to off the top of my head.
Probably.
Let me, yeah.
I'm just
let me
curious.
circle back on that.
I'm jealous. Those are pretty good numbers.
Well, you know, it was, it's been a very concentrated effort to get to these kinds of numbers. We were always one of the pilot projects early on for the workforce initiative. And so we've done a lot, working with Work Now and some other groups to really create that pipeline. So let me circle back and get you those details and have to. Next slide. And then also just want to put on folks' radar that we are sort of honing in on the completion of livestock and really want to start thinking and coordinating between all of our campus partners on the events that will be happening. Obviously, we want to do a very big sort of ribbon cutting celebration, hand off some keys as we usually do and have the mayor there. But I know there's going to be lots of other events that Stock Show and Authority are going to want to do. So just putting it out there that we need to be very well coordinated. It'll be a very busy couple of months leading up to Stock Show and then during the event itself. So
Do you have it targeted in mind, kind of date right now? And
I think we're looking at early November. I'm sorry, early December. Yeah. But let me circle back with Marcy and see. I know she's been talking to everyone's team.
Yeah, I
here.
saw an email from her and
Yep.
Angela and others about, potentially coordinating things, so I know they're talking.
Next slide. And this was the great event we had last Saturday. Thanks to Lori and the entire Authority team. Thanks to Arts and Venues and the Public Art Program. It was fantastic. We actually started on the bridge. And we had the bridge artist, Debbie Garcia. There were Aztec dancers that did a procession from the bridge to the riverfront open space. And then both of the artists for riverfront open space, that's Matthew Mazzota, and, oh shoot, I'm forgetting his name. Bimmer, right? Bimmer Torres. Who did the mural on the roof of that structure. Everyone was there. It was just fantastic. They had a band playing after. And it was just really great to see that this structure, it's art, it's a pavilion, it's a gathering place, it's an Instagram moment. Like it really brings that identity and presence to riverfront open space that frankly we've been waiting for 2 years since we opened. So really great to see. Great milestone, and now we're looking forward to The last major piece of art, in the plaza by Cliff Garden, that will be coming along Blackstock. And with that, that is my report.
Anybody have any questions for Michael?
Of the art budget, Michael, do you think that ends the entirety of the budget, or is there anything left that still has to be on?
So, yeah, so the remaining piece is, the art that will be on the second bridge, the Betty Graham Drive Bridge. That will, the intent is that it mirrors, the art on the 51st Avenue Bridge. They were designed together. We are working through with, arts and venues right now on the funding for that, as well as Dottie to make sure that's fully funded, but we feel like that is a commitment that the campus made. And so we are making sure that, Dottie pays their fair share, as we get that built up.
Equestrian Center will also have 1%.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
Okay, yeah.
Anyone else? Jocelyn, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see
Doing
you.
well. I would also note a couple things. You have our report, right? The only thing I'll just note is that, when we say that it's summer camp season at Spur, that means we are really rocking and rolling. We have about 100 kids over there all week this week in various different camps, including a camp that is being hosted by Cultivando, that is family oriented camp that's including a bunch of GBS folks. So really excited to be fully transitioned into week 2 of our camp season. It's a lot of fun. We also have a pretty busy event season through the course of the summer. We're really happy to have our second Saturday in collaboration with the People's Market. We're looking forward to continuing that. I think there was a lot of great integration with, our plant sale and sort of starting the summer off officially, and we were really happy to sort of be able to provide a little respite from the heat inside the buildings as well. So great collaboration. It's, all the things we always planned on doing with this, collaborative programming that's starting to happen. So really appreciate that efforts from the National Orchestra too.
With your camp season going on, what are your employee numbers like?
Our employee numbers, I don't actually know the answer to that because it's true, a lot of our camps are actually run by folks who come down from Fort Collins or come in from outside organizations. So I don't know off the top of my head. But we probably have another 10, 15 staff. That's it for me.
Sure. Thanks, Jocelyn. Anybody have any questions for Jocelyn? Thanks a bunch. WSSA.
I don't really have anything to add to what we sent out. We had the OEdit report that was due, so I pretty much mimicked the OEdit report for this group because it's very detailed. So if anyone had any questions about that, we're, 127 million on our capital campaign. That's one thing that everyone should at least have in their mind, and we've got to get above 150 to complete the things we need to complete. So, anything else?
Wes, Allison will be with us at the next meeting, July meeting, as will Paul, but, so we'll start that transition.
How's that working out so far? Clean?
Good, yeah, he's ingesting a lot of knowledge.
It's furrows.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's furrows.
Okay, thank you.
Good deal. Sandra's not here, I don't guess Sandra's not online either. So,
She's got a sick kid.
Oh, bummer. Okay, well, I have just got a couple things. So we recently had the Tortillas for Tepeyac event, which was super, super fun. Had a great time there. I saw a couple familiar faces there, so that was a great event. We did really well. Be looking forward to it. It's gonna happen next year again as well. And then the next event that we'll be looking forward to is the Fiesta Gala. Now that's not until October, so I'm gonna spare you guys all the details of that right now. Provide those a little bit closer to the event so that we're not have excess knowledge rambling around in our brains. The only other thing that I wanted to mention is that there is a group called Love My Air. They have recently installed an interactive video screen kiosk at Tepeyac. So people can go, it's in English and in Spanish, so people can go up while they're waiting in line, tap a couple things on it, learn about the air quality in our neighborhoods. We are going to be putting together some focus groups for that. Now, that's not going to be happening until probably August, but I just wanted to mention it now in case anybody had the chance to be like, I've got a great idea, or you should involve this person. Let me know if you have any of these great ideas, because we're kind of just getting everything ready now to have those focus groups and kind of get more people involved and see how we can tailor the program to better fit the needs of the community and make sure we're not missing out on anything obvious, that the community members will let us know, hey, if you had XYZ, this would work way better. So just keep that in your mind. If anybody around you is interested in air quality, send them my way. I'll be happy to chat with them. And that's pretty much it for me right now.
Good show. Anybody have any questions for Caroline? Thanks for that. Financial update. Cynthia and Nicole.
I was just gonna give a quick update on the May financial results. So our operating results through the end of May were, the revenue was 3.9 million. That's about 77% of the 5.1 million that we have planned for operating revenue for the year. Of that amount, about 945,000 was related to events. That is an increase month over month of 143K. We still have about $1 million left to get in our budget for events revenue, but we're off to a really great start in the month of June. We've booked about 150,000 in events revenue through the month to date. And we also always carry a little bit on deferred revenue, which typically we will book around 85% of that down the road at 83,000. So that's about another 200,000 off that million left to get. In total, our net revenue through the month of May was 1.3 million. When we factor in the district energy loss of 938K, and we still have some remaining budget of the EQC of 179,000, our total consolidated net revenue is still at 573,000 through the year to date. And then we'll talk more about the budget in the executive session.
Nicole, anything to add to that? Thanks for that. Jessica. Where are we at? She off?
Not here, there's no report out of campus services and partnerships.
Okay. And Ernest, did anybody handle community benefits?
I can cover that. We covered quite a bit of it in Lori's work, but we are having conversations with the GS Community Investment Fund. Both Steve and I attended our monthly meeting with them on Monday. They also were at the Community Benefits Committee last week. They are formulating ideas. They're looking for approaches and strategies to increase revenue to the Community Investment Fund. So we will hear more about that, I'm sure, in the future. They've asked to come back to the Community Benefits Committee at our next meeting as well. So that's all we're going to have beyond what Lori reported already.
I have to ask, where did city council land on their request? And is that one of their ideas for generating additional funds?
So that's a much longer answer than you want to hear, but I would say that they had some assumptions on where funding could come from that weren't possible, weren't legal, and sources that weren't achievable. And so sort of step one was to assess that, to get that asked and answered. It was. Then they and we and Mike and folks from the city pivoted to, are there other options? There are other options down the road, but they require all the things that come with city funding, competitive procurements and scope definitions and very close tracking. It's a pretty big step away from what their original ask was around the community investment fund dollars back in the day, which was, we want dollars with no strings attached. So the contributions that come through Roundup are that. There are no strings attached. They govern it, they determine it. There's no city or authority oversight technically. There are guardrails set up through a memorandum of understanding, but they aren't reporting back other than the quarterly report they provide us. So that's what council basically, a couple of members who are really driving this question wanted us to answer that, figure out if there were any other sources. Once those were asked and answered, then 9 of the 13 members were going to support or were not. So we will continue.
Us to help come up with ways to.
That was the first ask. We don't have that money. and I don't, there's.
Well, the
budgets
first ask
and
was
budget
that
problems
this
too.
project gives them that money and you've explained that that's not
Yeah, it's not
possible.
there.
Was council expecting us to help them think of ways to generate more? Is that our role?
Some council members were expecting us to help them generate, and the city, and I connected them, attempted to connect them with city groups that, Dito and Host and others that work in that space that would have knowledge of potential other revenue sources for them.
And do you have a sense of why they feel they need more revenue? Do they have a giant project they're trying to fund or what's driving?
They believe that the dollars over time don't create what they described as an urgent need today. And they were focused on using those dollars to create a revolving loan fund to support primarily housing displacement and mitigating that.
You might have any more questions for Brett on that? Good show.
2 events.
Joe, how are you doing?
Good morning, doing well, thank you. Thanks for letting me join you virtually. Desiree and Amanda are in the room with you, so they're going to carry the bulk of this today, but I wanted to say good morning and just say we are in some good positions here. We have had a lot of additions to our team and a lot of time to focus on a lot of the things that we discussed last time. And so we'll do some updates on the operational side of that. There's a lot of things we're not even going to get into because it's just too many to do. And then we'll pivot to sales after that. So I will hand it over to Desiree to start us off.
Thanks, Joe. Good morning, everybody. If you haven't met me, I'm Desiree. I am the campus and event operations manager. So I kind of do a mix of campus operations, campus coordination, and also supporting the events with anything that we have going on kind of behind the scenes, back of house stuff. So a couple of our updates that we're presenting today, we have enacted and started this new venue maintenance program tool. Omar, who's with our facilities team, created this in our maintenance program. It's pretty much a QR reporting tool for any partner, any attendee, anybody that's on campus. They will be placed strategically kind of in and around buildings. They give everybody the ability to scan a QR code and report anything that's going on, whether it's damage, a concern, something needs to be mowed, there's a grasshopper, whatever's going on, you can put in pictures, put in the notes of anything, and then also list whether or not it's like an urgent need or a routine need or something. Those immediately go into our system and we all get notifications, so we know to go take care of those things kind of in real time. They will be placed in the riverfront, on every building, in every area that we would be activating on campus. So if you get a chance to take a picture of them and kind of run through that, feel free, but you'll start seeing those pop up around campus kind of in all the different areas. Next slide, please. Thank you. Campus event parking. So as you guys are all aware, parking is super fun on campus. Nally and Joe and I are talking constantly along with partners of what that's going to look like over the next 3 years. So we have developed a 3-year parking plan through the end of 2028 that has taken quite some time, along with coordination from partners, as I said earlier, and trying to manage the logistics between just people on campus, construction on campus, events that are happening, load in and load out schedules. As you can imagine, it can get very, very convoluted, and if you don't park somebody, they park themselves and it can kind of become a disaster. So we are working through that. The little grid here is kind of showing every month through the end of 2028. It's really hard to read on here, but it's every parking lot, street available that we may have to use, along with what is unavailable is kind of blacked out until it comes online. Map kind of shows those. The multiple maps kind of go through any big changes that we have. So when this actually gets distributed out, it will have, color coding to show what's coming offline, what's getting added online, and what we'll actually have access to along with the available parking positions that we will have until we get some parking garages on site. Next slide, please. Thank you. For our event sales tools that we're working on, these have all been distributed, they've all been published out. So our venue production guides, we took every piece of information for both Stockyards Event Center and everything that we have currently for LBC. And we have put those into production packet that can be used for shows and clients coming in. It talks about all the tech in the building, all the spaces in the building, all the office spaces in the building as well. With any need to know, water access, electrical access, AV components, and what you could do in these spaces. So sales is using those to put out to all of our clients so they know what they're walking into before they're here for a site visit. So they know what capabilities we have and what things we might need to bring in for like additional support, whether it be AV equipment or additional labor and items like that. Campus Guide, is our campus information. It goes through all of our campus policies and procedures, what our load-in areas look like, things you can and can't do, like having helium balloons in really tall buildings where you can't get them down later. As well as all of our fire code requirements, confetti, pyro, things like that. So again, it's more of a campus total overview instead of individually by venue. And then lastly on there is our venue rental packages. So we have been building out with PRG, all of our rental packages that will go into LVC, including a house audio and lighting package that will just be in the building and available to rent for anybody that's coming into the arena. We're also working on one for the expo hall side of that as well. And building those out and working really closely with them on getting all of our clients to try to go to them first, trying to utilize all of their items and see what we can generate there in both revenue and support for the clients, and making sure that we're giving them top tier service from our production company and helping them through everything that we've had. Every event in the last 6 events I think we've had over at SYEC has used PRG in some element, whether it was for a full build out or pipe and drape or some staging or a couple extra microphones. So those are really helping us kind of lock those in with the events that are coming on and, supporting them so they know what we can and can't do and how we can help them get from point A to point B and execute a successful event. Next slide, please. For our ancillary exhibitor events, for everybody that's familiar with like trade shows coming in and the booth spaces and everything that's going to go into LVC, both in the arena and on the expo hall floor. When we're going through those in the sales side, it's usually a breakdown of the client versus individual exhibitors that are buying their utilities. So we have created this list of everything that they could buy or purchase, whether it be water drops, electrical, high power, like company switches for like large concerts and items there. So this is their breakdown to be able to reference that so they know what they're building out and what they would plan to pay individually for each exhibit space. We have developed a program that has the ordering system, the billing system, and then the auditing system all within that. So once we are able to hire our client and exhibitor services manager, they will be assisting with all of that and working with all of our clients coming in to make sure that we are executing that correctly. We're billing them correctly. We're assisting them if they're new to the process and don't know what they should be ordering, for their booth spaces. And that includes all of the equipment that goes with that. So if it's an electrical and we're doing, 50 drops of 20 amps for 30 booths or something, it includes what the labor will cost for that, what the equipment will cost for that, and just gives them a really one-stop shop to do all of that in one place with like 1 or 2 people through the run of their event. And that is it for that one. Thank you. And I'm going to hand it back over to Joe to talk about wayfinding.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. So here we go with, as you'll continue to see some signage that we continue to put out. The riverfront signage has been out for a while. Hopefully you've seen that. There's also collection points that have gone out there as well that we are monitoring now. So that should help as well. So that's an added piece that's been helpful. This is also a rendering of, and it is, so verbiage and stuff like that's not all the way exact, but this does show kind of what the campus plaza wayfinding will look like. There'll be digital monitors in there. There'll be a static map that also shows where you are. And then there will also be, on some of them, cameras and emergency call boxes that we have put in so that we can kind of address multiple things with one item as we work through those. So those will be coming in to the plaza. We've been working with both teams, CSU and Stock Show, to get those pieces into place. So we're happy to kind of see the signage, and then we're working behind the scenes on larger signage packages, and we'll be engaging with partners on that as we continue through that. Next slide. One more touch point on kind of where we're at with staffing. Most of these people we've addressed or introduced to you already in 2025. We have more to come. Either those are posted or will be posted to get us prepared for the livestock center openings so that we can manage the needs of clients as they come through there and guests. I would say that one of the things that Desiree kind of pointed to in some of her slides that we had just seen was that we're really getting ourselves together as the authority, which is exciting because as we bring these roles in, we're now being able to, and Amanda's a good example of this, as pivoting to a campus coordination piece so that we are not just doing this kind of in siloed pieces, but we're able to really engage Stock Show and CSU and have them with us looking at bigger picture items for, contracting and now security and all of these things that are coming. So it's really kind of getting to what the framework has asked for that. And so we're being able to pivot more and more on those and drill down those things. And with that, I think next slide is going to be Amanda taking over.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Amanda Bias. I'm the new director of sales and ticketing here. I started, my first day was the board meeting last month, so it's been about a month. So really diving in already and excited for what all the team has put together. We want to kind of start off by showing you where our leads are coming from. So this graph right here kind of paints a picture of our lead sources from last year versus this year. The main kind of differences you'll see this year is that yellow color. More internal events, also more repeat business, which obviously we were expecting, and is good news. And then the real good news here is the triple seat web lead. Essentially, those are leads that come in directly from our website. So what this tells me is that more and more people are seeing our marketing efforts and visiting our website and know what we're doing over here and submitting their leads directly to us, which is great news. Year to date, we've completed 23 events, and we have 37 bookings out into the future for the rest of the year. And those are strongholds or either contracted. A couple of good stats that we pulled up here is we're 66 average days from inquiry to contract. So that's kind of our booking cycle. Last time we reported on this, it was about 90 days. So it's a pretty short booking cycle for 66 days. I think that speaks a little bit to kind of the economic climate that we're in right now, as well as kind of post-COVID events have been booking shorter and shorter is what I've seen. And then additionally, we're about 48 average days from contract to event. So I think that really speaks to our ops team. They really have about a month and a half from the time that we contract an event to turn things around and make it successful. Mitzi reported on that number, $945,000 year to date in event revenue. This time last year, we were at 324. So that's a pretty significant increase, about 620,000, 191%. One thing to note on that is that we actually had another staff member. So we were a team of one until about this time last year, team of two starting this time last year. And then now we're a team of three with me coming on. The next slide, please. This is kind of a look at our holds by month for next year. LVC is that green color and purple you'll see is SYEC. So we kind of wanted to take a look at that, and a few things that we've learned from the distribution that this over this year is that we have the highest interest in Q1 and Q2, and then September and October. As you can see there, August has no holds. So that can kind of inform us as we move forward where we should be prospecting, what certain events we should be going after. If something is coming in August, maybe we look at incentivizing them to be here. And then you can kind of see the difference in this booking cycle between SYEC and LVC. I anticipate we'll get our first LVC contract here any day. We have a few out right now, so those are with legal teams, and I'm hoping we get one signed here soon. But in general, people are looking out to the LVC much longer out than SYEC. That's a much shorter booking cycle. And then February 9th is projected to be our first event in the LVC. As I've come on the team, we're looking at coding essentially and reporting so that we can get you some better information So really taking a deep dive into source codes, where are leads coming from, lost codes, who are we losing business to? And then conversion, like how much of the business are we actually converting? And then also I'm working with Jenna's team to look at kind of our lead source generating what sites that we're subscribing to. So that's like a Visit Denver, a Venue Hub, where are our leads coming from? Next slide, please. And speaking of business development, the team really did an actually great job before I came on, looking into about 600 organizations that they're wanting to target in 27 mission aligned business segments. So we kind of did like a weighted word cloud over there of where those organizations fall into. The next steps on my plate are kind of creating a process and a cadence for how we reach out to those groups, developing goals for the team and how many times we should be reaching out to those groups, and building a system to kind of track not only how we're reaching out to them, but also what business we're gaining from that. Some other efforts were put forth is kind of a budget and what industry organizations should we target in terms of like trade shows and memberships and all of that. Slide, please. And then I believe this group has been introduced to our client care meetings before, but I think they're just very important. They kind of serve as a bridge between the sales process and then our event management and operations team. So those are currently happening. Some enhancements to that may be coming down the pike is introducing SSA, PRG, other partners along the way, and then getting other National Western segments involved, such as marketing and parking and sustainability. And that's a wrap. Any questions?
So I do have a booking question. So
Yeah.
I see a lot of trade show stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me about the arena itself. Do we have holds on the arena? You know, the 3,000 to 5,000 seat arena, not the expo.
We do, and actually there's a couple expos that will utilize that area as well. So one example of that would be like the auto show, is looking to kind of engage both spaces. But we actually had a couple site tours in the last few weeks, with some concerts that are looking to not only engage the arena, but also the expo hall. So it seems like a lot of groups are large enough to want to utilize both.
Okay, yeah, it's just important that we have arena activity because you're gonna make a lot of money in the arena activity.
For sure.
Versus the expo hall, because the expo hall, people are creeping in and, you know, some of them buy concessions and not, but when that concert hits in there with 3,000 to 5,000 people, you're gonna make money. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, go
no,
ahead.
that's okay.
We actually had another inquiry from like, it's called CrossFit Games, so it's more of a sporting event. So they have kind of what's called like a fan expo, so they're using the expo area for that, and then they'll actually use the arena for competition. So something like that's gonna be really, I think, a full campus activation as well.
Good, and Brad and I are having some meetings with some presidents of various concert promoters in the very near future, so hopefully we can help you.
That would be great.
Joe, my next question is for you. It's a quick one. So, as I think of venue management and the city policies regarding weapons entering an arena, we have to have scanners if we're going to enforce that. So what is the thought in the Sioux Institute's Rogers Livestock Center for the entry points? Is anyone talking about that?
Yeah, we're engaged with Open Gate and have talked about having their services or their equipment at the front end of our venues. That those can be rollable to any venue, any area. You're probably familiar with them, Paul, but for anybody who's not, it's one of the more mobile of it's called more of a weapon detector, not so much a metal detector, because the whole intent behind that is that it's looking for items that resemble specific parts of weapons. And then you can either, tighten that or kind of loosen that up depending on what you want to do. But that's one of the more, I won't say it's affordable in the sense it's cheap, it's not, but it is one of the more affordable, and it's one of the better use systems for indoor, outdoor. So that's kind of how we've approached that. We also have our guidelines to any events that are coming in that may have display or other needs like that, of like a sportsman, a sports and hunting, things like that, that are in final reviews to go out for these shows that are booking. But yes, those are both on the radar, and that's kind of our approach on those.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure somebody's thinking about it. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Anybody have any other questions? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, all right, thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Joe or the team? Jenna, we have anybody open for comment?
We do not have any members of the public on. We have a couple of staff members, but no members of the public, so I think we're good to move on.
Okay. Marcus, do we
Want to,
think about going into executive session?
what, yeah, would you like to ask for a motion, sir?
Yes, sir.
Don't move.
Second.
Thank you. They're clairvoyant.
The Board of Directors of the National Western Center Authority desires to go into executive session pursuant to Colorado statute 24-6-402 for sub 4B and E to confer with counsel if necessary for the purpose of receiving legal advice to determine positions relative to procurement matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and the like. The board will not and cannot pursuant to statute adopt any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action during this executive session. That is prohibited by law, and this statement is required to be made by law. The session will be recorded pursuant to law, and the recording will be maintained in the books and records of the National Western Center Authority. Because we'll be talking about procurement matters, it's very important to maintain confidentiality in this session, both during and afterwards. So with that, Mr. Chair, unless there's any other discussion, you should ask for a vote.
Vote to enter executive session. Any opposed? We're in executive session. We're out of executive session. Mark, what other
Yes,
recitations
yeah,
you need?
it just this session has been recorded. We maintain in the books and records of the National Western Center Authority. Everything discussed in here shall remain confidential. Eventually, the budget will be made public, but there are certain elements in here that need discussion, include employment aspects and procurements, and so it's important to keep that confidential.
Thanks for that. Anybody opposed to adjournment?
Don't ask them. You have the power to adjourn.
All in favor, say yay. We're adjourned. Don't forget to eat the donuts out there.
The one.